Hello, everybody. Fellow Richard with the 10 best albums from 1976. Now, I tend to jump right into these. I mean, I don't like to lollygag around. The last video I made, I rambled on for like 6.5 minutes, unlike my normal self. And I promise I'm not going to do that anymore. By the way, in the spirit of transparency, I am wearing Obsession. I figured since that MoFi incident, we should all be transparent now. Number 10. Oh wait, first of all, last night I couldn't sleep. I woke up around 2 a.m. and I'm laying there in bed. And I got my phone, put my headphones on, and I started watching James Griffith's videos up until like 4:30, and then I'm tired, you know. And I mean, I didn't watch him because he's so boring he would put me to sleep. I watched one of his videos that evening, and it was so engaging in that, and I guess I had James Griffiths on the mind. I couldn't sleep, you know, so I had to get rid of that. You know, what's really surprising is how many videos we actually miss, you know, because there's so many people in the VC. You get busy for a week or two, and man, there's hundreds of good videos that just go by the wayside, you know. Anyways, I'm going to jump into it. Number 10, The Modern Lovers. Of all these albums, this is the one that I'm the newest to. I only bought this album this year, and it's really good, man. The songs are kind of rambling jams almost. The grooves, I guess. I mean, the song structure's kind of loose. Let's put it mildly. Jonathan Richman, there's a person in the VC that has first-hand knowledge that Jonathan Richman is a bit of a dick, and this individual even has a hard time watching Something About Mary because of the Jonathan Richman parts. And yeah, I mean, maybe he had a bad day, you know, but I mean, I can personally say firsthand that John Doe was a dick. At least he was on a particular day, and I give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, we all have bad days. But anyways, Jerry Harrison is on this, the keyboard player who went on to the Talking Heads. But his organ playing on this it's not on all the songs, but on some of the songs, man, you hear this Doors vibe almost. It's really intriguing. The guitar's really great. It's just a really good album. Starts off with Road Runner. Side 1 ends with Pablo Picasso, which is a very interesting song. It's like, you know, Pablo Picasso's like trying to pick up chicks, and he's never called an asshole, you know. And yeah, that's a very interesting concept. It reminds me of a company party Christmas party, I believe, that I went to. Went with my friend Robert. Unbeknownst to me, Robert approached Linda, you know, and told her, you know, hey, I really like you. I'd like to start going out. I'd like to go out with you and this and that. And she told him, hey, you know what? Just leave me alone, or I'm going to have to report you for sexual harassment. And I know Robert. He's a very mild-spoken guy, you know. Well, later that night, things started getting wild in the backyard by the pool. I didn't actually go in the pool, but there was a point where all I was wearing was a black leather jock strap and my Beatle boots. And, you know, what's in the past is in the past. Anyways, I went up to Linda and I told her, you know what, I've always found you attractive, and you know, how about if we, you know, go out? We ended up seeing each other for like 3 years, you know, so it just, you know. Number 10. Number 9, Peter Tosh, Legalize It. There was a couple of other reggae albums that I considered for this list. And it looks like my camera is getting ready to fall. But yeah, I just really dig the tunes on this, man. It starts out with Legalize It. And then you got Burial. Now, Burial's a great song. But the very beginning part, 20 seconds or whatever, it's got these really weird sounding horns. Dun, 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 dun. But then it gets into the groove of the song. And he does that a few times on this. The third song, What You Gonna Do, maybe the weakest song on the album. And putting it as the third song on side one is really a pretty smart move. But after that, man, you got No Sympathy, one of the best, and just a really well-written song. Peter Tosh from the original Wailers. Number 8, New York, CBGB's punk rock scene starting to happen. And they're starting to release records, you know. Blondie's debut. Really, I would say there's not a bad song on this. Some really well-written, catchy songs. Some, like, you got Ex-Offender starts out side one. Really good, man. And then you got Ripper to Shreds, you know, kind of edgy stuff, you know. Kung Fu Girls. I mean, I'm not going to name all the names. This is stupid. But yeah, really good. I saw them, I believe it was at the December of 1976 at the Whiskey A Go-Go. Really good gig. Tom Petty was the opening band of all things. But you got this guy here. Gary Valentine, is it? I think it's Gary Valentine. Yeah, the bass player. And then he left the band. If you notice on their second album, there's only 4 members on the front. It's because he left. And he joined a band called The Eyes, an LA punk band. And the opening on that band was because, and I guess he went and played guitar, I think, for The Eyes. But the reason there was an opening on that is because Christine Caffy, or whatever her name is, left The Eyes and joined the Go-Go's. And boy, this dude, I mean, The Eyes were a great punk band, but man, the other 2 bands blew up, you know? Poor guy. He don't sleep good at night. I recommend James Griffith's videos, if that's the case. Number 7, Presence. Fantastic album. Really good guitars on it. And what is surprising, I've heard that all of the guitar solos were recorded in one day because Jimmy at this time was so strung out on heroin. Very unusual album cover. Some people hate it. I kind of like it, man. I think it's pretty weird, you know? I mean, it's not pretty weird. It's weird. And it's a promo copy. Number 6. Maybe a surprise to some, but it's Jackson Browne, The Pretender. I think by far Jackson Browne's best album. Every song on here is great. Starts out with The Fuse, Your Baby Blue Eyes, and then Linda Paloma. I told you the story about Linda earlier. That song actually, you know how like I'm not a words guy, I'm more of a music guy. But there are some songs, man, the words just, they kind of get to you, you know. I actually tear up when I hear that song sometimes, you know, if I had a few. But yeah, and then surprisingly the next song is Here Come Those Tears Again, and then they really come out, man. Yeah, fantastic, dude. Great songwriter, and I think it's his best, dude. So that was the bottom 5. Now we're on the top 5. Number 5, we got Patti Smith's second album, Radio Ethiopia. It's not quite as good as her first, but it is pretty darn good. It's got some really good, it's got Pissing in a River, an earlier song of hers. Ask the Angels, you know. It's got those kind of songs, but it's also got like Radio Ethiopia, and I believe it's Ain't It Strange. They're kind of floaty, not floaty. It's almost like it's free jazz. I mean, they're real free, and they just, I don't know. Number 5. Number 4, my second reggae album of the list. It's Bob Marley and the Wailers. And the two that I was really heavily considering were Super Ape and that War in a Babylon. But yeah, this is my favorite Bob Marley album, probably. This and Natty Dread. I love this album. This is the first Bob Marley album I ever bought. It was right after that live album that Bob Marley did. Now, when I did 75, a lot of people, or not a lot, some people left comments that, oh, Bob Marley and the Wailers live would have been on my top 10. I'm strictly sticking to studio albums and no best ofs. So that's why, you know, the Allman Brothers at the Fillmore, the Lou Reed's Rock and Roll Animal, albums like that, which I think are probably in the top 10 of that year, aren't making my list. But anyways, I love this album. I think it's great all the way through. And it's got a song on here called Night Shift that I could relate to, because I worked quite a few years on the night shift. And I think Ryan Kidd would really like that song, dude. Working on the night shift, driving a forklift. It's fantastic. Positive Vibrations, Rat Race, and my favorite, Crazy Ball Head. Now we're into the top 3. Number 3, arguably my favorite album of the year, Station to Station. Now this is definitely when his that deep voice kicked, you know, that type of singing really kicked in. I don't know, people from LA that know the Kevin and Bean show, there was a guy in there, Ralph, and he did a great David Bowie, and he would talk in that singing voice of Bowie. It was really funny. But yeah, it starts out with Station to Station with a 10 or 11 minute song. It kind of has, I think, 3 different sections, you know, but man, by the end, it's really driving. Golden Years, his hit from the album. And when I say hit, it's legitimately his second top 40 hit. His only previous hit before that was Fame in the U.S. And then you got Word on a Wing, which is probably, I didn't like that song. I used to skip that song. I like it now, but it's, I don't know. And then side 2 starts off with TVC15 and Stay. Those 2 songs just kick ass. And then Wild as the Wind is another one of those Word on a Wing. But it's probably a little better. But anyways, number 3. Number 2 is Joni Mitchell. Probably my favorite album by her. And I guess it's Hejira. I always called it Herijah. I don't know. I'm like Steve Carlson. I pronounce shit wrong. But yeah, really jazzy at points. Or not at point. It has this jazzy feel to it. And you got Jaco Pastorius on bass. Fantastic bass playing. My first introduction to him. I later saw him with Weather Report. And he comes out. And he don't have a shirt on, you know. And he's like, I'm going, dude, what, do you think you're in Van Halen or something? You know, it kind of put me off. But yeah, Joni Mitchell, man. Great songs. Every song in here tells a story, dude. Furry Sings the Blues. I don't know. It's my second favorite. And I don't have my favorite here. So I'm gonna... Here it is. I'll pull out this version. This is the limited edition, whatever. Let's see. I kept the hype sticker. See what it says. The 40th Anniversary Deluxe Edition. Now, I have a version of this, but this has a mono. I think the record's in here. It's got a mono version. I thought, you know what, that everybody's talking mono and how good mono is. You know, the Ramones, man, they would be the perfect band. The stereo one kicks its ass, man. I like the stereo version better. And then it's got like a bunch of outtakes and demos. You got Live at the Roxy, previously unissued, and just different stuff like that. Number 1, Ramones' debut. Fantastic album. I should talk about the album, I guess, instead of this release. It comes out with Blitzkrieg Bop, Beat on the Brat. I mean, these people look at this now and they go, oh, it's kind of like pop punk. No, this was not pop punk. If you listen to these fucking chainsaw, buzzsaw sounding guitars, there was nothing like it at the time. Nothing came close. And yeah, it's just great. It's got some of their best songs. I Don't Want to Go Down to the Basement. Maybe my favorite song on this, and I dedicate that one to Glenn Calloway. Yeah, stay away from the basement, fellas. Nothing good happens in the basement. And then, yeah, I remember playing this for people, man, when they'd come to the house back then, and they were kind of taken aback, especially with 53rd and 3rd when Dee Dee starts singing. They go, oh yeah, that's punk rock, you know. But anyways, the number 1 album, 1976. Oh yeah, and that reminds me of a story. I remember this one time, I was walking down Hollywood Boulevard,